Of our father's installation as president of WNPA, because, no kidding, though we do kid a lot, we're very proud of it. We think he's accomplished a lot. Some of you don't know, he was not allowed as a high school student to take the journalism training at Jefferson High School in Portland because he didn't have good enough grades in English. And from that time on, he's been striving to prove that he was really, underestimated, and we think he was. It's touching for us, seriously, because though it may seem silly to you or facetious to you, the names of the past presidents and some of the dignitaries who've been introduced here tonight are people who were mentioned to us throughout our childhood, people like Bill Lewis and Frank Garrett, although he's barely older than I am. Looks younger because he stays in great shape. But these are people who've been almost like mythological characters to us. So they're people who are, and maybe they are, but seriously, we're very flattered and proud of our father that he would join the company of people who have served in the capacity he's about to serve in, and people like John Fournier Jr. and his father. It's quite an honor. We really are flattered and pleased to be here tonight to celebrate with him. We have a couple of silly things we want to do for you, and we're
silly. Yeah, yes, that's right.
These are 4 silly things right behind me here. It's very wonderful to be here, and my father got so excited about coming down here that after years of denying and ignoring my request for a front-end system, I'm happy to say he's finally gone ahead, and I don't know, I wasn't here for that because I was up in Seattle, but we bought a front-end system finally. It's it's a IBM Reagan writer. It's got no memory and no colon. Some of you will recall that Jerry Robinson has sort of emulated Ronald Reagan in a couple of important ways, having had most of his colon shot out and we don't know about his memory. And we're pleased to see that he's being followed, or apparently will be followed by Jeff Fletcher. I've been talking to John Fournier Jr. about Jeff Fletcher's career. You know, Jeff started as a salesman in the Valley in Kent, and there's a great story about Jeff that you really should know if you're contemplating him as your executive officer someday. He was a young salesman, and this is in the days when Kent was still a fairly rural area. And when he was out there selling one night, he had a serious car wreck. He rolled his sports car over, and he likes to drive Corvettes. He's been restoring a Corvette for some 22 years that I know of. He's got the doors on now, I think. And he rolled the car, and seriously, he had broken clavicle, broken kneecap, he had a little blood coming out of his ear, but he crawled away from the wreckage and got up on the road, crawled down the road and saw a farmhouse out ahead of him, crawled probably a quarter mile toward the only light he could see, finally managed, after passing out 4 or 5 times in this arduous crawl, to get up on the porch of this farmhouse. So you have to imagine this man in deep pain, having lost consciousness 2 or 3 times on this heroic crawl. And when he got to that porch, he edged his way up against the doorway and kind of batted on the doorway. This is like midnight, until finally someone stirred in the house and came out, opened the door, looked at him, and he said, I've got a little wreck down the road. Could you put me up for the night? And the farmer looked at him for a minute and said, oh, you look pretty banged up, all right. I guess that'll be okay. But I want to warn you, I don't have a daughter. And Fletcher says, how far is the next farm? This is a man of determination. I think you'll come to find that out. I want to introduce my brothers. Tim Robinson, who is a salesman, a printing salesman with Roscoe, which is our commercial printing division, and also owns his own print shop, Robinson Printing in Federal Way. Ken Robinson, who is our well, what do you do? He's the bon vivant of our family, and he has the responsibility for overseeing the union relationships in our printing division, and is also associate publisher. Ken Robinson. Pat Robinson is a former advertising salesman for our West Seattle paper, and now is the vice president of our digital post and graphics division, which is the experiment we're conducting in video post-production in Seattle, and we invite you at any time that you're in Seattle to come by and see that rather amazing facility. It's got doors and windows, and the walls are painted. It's unlike any community newspaper office you've ever been in, I assure you. My youngest brother is Scott Robinson. He is a pressman and a union member in Tukwila. He runs the Pasters, and I have to say, I'm very proud of him. He really is a good pressman. Yes. We're about ready to do a couple of songs, and they're originally composed with some apologies to Roger Miller for the first number. And if my brother Beau is ready, you're cued.
Okay, I'm always stuck there. I think he's cute, isn't he?
We will, with some help from, I guess we're going. Newspaper as you bet, takes your copy, gets it sent, writes stories and a head, gotta get the news to bed, he's sold more to my eyes than any other man alive. He's got a deal you can't refuse. He's king of the news. He knows every grocer and banker in town. Comes up with a scam when the lineage is down. Elk, lion, Rotarian too. Don't bet any money when he's golfing with you. Newspaper as you bet. Takes your copy, gets it sent. Writes stories and ahead. Gotta get the news to bed. He's sold more to buy five than any other man alive. He's got a deal you can't refuse. He's king of the news. We'll be back in just a moment if you'll bear with us. And I need some help from Tracy. Can you come forward, Tracy? We'll be right back. Bear with us.